Inside Allegiant Stadium for the first time this year. Maxx Crosby. Touchdown Raiders. And traffic is picked off by Robert Spillane. Josh Jones. Amazing. Yeah, let's go, God damn it. To the back and he's caught there for the touchdown. And drilled from behind. Ball down. Big man running.
This is a great opportunity for us to come home in front of our family, fans, Raider Nation, the Black Hole.
Raiders! Goddamn right.
What is up, Raider Nation? Good morning, Raider Nation, I should say. Welcome to another episode of JRB Live, episode 13. We have a lot to talk about, y'all. So I wanted to go ahead and hit you guys up bright and early, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, I should say. But there is a lot going on today, but thank you guys so much for joining me on this show today. I appreciate you guys so much. But make sure, if this is your first time jumping on the show, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Keep supporting the show. Make sure you guys wipe your feet and hit that subscribe button. Turn on your alerts. Obviously, shows like this where we do it last moment pop up. I also put on shorts every week, so they're fucking hilarious. So make sure you guys check those out as well. But again, good morning, everyone. Early edition of JRB Live, but let's go ahead and get into it. Again, like I said, we have a lot to talk about today. A lot of shit is going down, and I just went over a couple stuff that I heard on Instagram, so I'll try to touch base on that as well last minute. But obviously, the biggest thing here is that we are now number 6 in the draft order. Obviously, we just had the win on Sunday versus the Jaguars, which I was there, and though the victory was nice, we fell, right? We don't have the number 1 pick. So that is the biggest thing right now. Everybody is DEFCON 1. We hit the panic button. A lot of people think that we're not going to be able to go ahead and draft Shedeur or Cam or basically anything meaningful at 6, right? So I'm here to say there's options. There's a lot of things that the Raiders can do to go ahead and move up. Not only that, the positioning will most likely change as well. So we're not going to stay at 6 for long. That's for sure. But Obviously, make sure you guys tell me your thoughts. Hit up that chat because obviously chat likes to matter. Voice your opinion. Let me know. Ask questions for sure, and then I'll go ahead and cover them as well. But yes, right now the biggest thing is that we're at number 6 in the draft order, and um, we got uh, Tennessee and Jacksonville playing on Sunday. That's going to change. So the victor from that will determine where we end up. So if we lose on Sunday and Tennessee wins, Tennessee goes down, Jacksonville goes up, and then we go up, right? So we'll probably land about either 4 or 5. Uh, it just depends, right? You got to see what New England does, what uh, Cleveland does. So obviously, you never know. Giants might fuck around and get lucky, and they might pull one off. You never know. So there's that as well, right? Um, but you want Tennessee to win because obviously Tennessee is a little bit more vested in a quarterback than Jacksonville is. Jacksonville already has Trevor Lawrence, and they had just giving him a big contract, I think, either the beginning of this year or last year. So they're set on him. So they're not really looking to go ahead and draft a quarterback. Obviously, their eyes are set on Travis Hunter, right? So that's primarily what they're going to look for. They're going to look for a big time receiver to go ahead and draft. So that's good news for us. We'll still, if we're in a 3 or 4 or even 5 position, if we're at 5, obviously we can go ahead and it's only a couple spots that we have to trade up to go ahead and either get a Cam or Shedeur, right? So we want Tennessee to win. So if you guys are following the draft, we're starting to become Tennessee Titan fans this weekend, right? Biggest thing here, and that obviously affects the draft coming out of Cleveland is that the Browns had just restructured Deshaun Watson's contract, right? So now this this changes things. Deshaun, the Browns don't need a quarterback, right? They could still draft one. That doesn't rule anything out, but the likelihood of them actually pursuing a big time quarterback like a Shedeur Sanders, where he's NFL ready, is going to be highly unlikely, right? So that's good news for us. So if Cleveland ends up being uh, ahead of us, again, we might be able to go ahead and get Shedeur, right? So there's that, and that's biggest. That's one of the biggest news that affects us now. For those fans out there that are Jalen Milroe, I'm sorry, but he will not be entering this year's draft. So Jalen Milroe has said that he's going to stay another year in college, and he's actually transferring to Oregon. So he's going to be a Duck starting in 2025. So that's the biggest thing. I know that that name was been tossed around a few times out there. So that's another thing. That's, I guess, if you could say that's another option that we've lost, right? For those, I wasn't really looking at Milroe too much, but you know, obviously anything where we can draft a high value quarterback is always good. But in my opinion, Milroe really wasn't that guy that would fit well with us. He has legs, the guy can run, but he's not really a good thrower, right? So Milroe is gone. He will not be in this year's draft. So maybe next year, but as of now, he will not be in this year's draft, right? So biggest thing: do the Raiders trade up to draft Shedeur Cam? Right? I think that's what we're all talking about. What the fuck do we do now? We're at 6. You know, hope doesn't look too good on us getting Shedeur Cam, obviously, right? And you know, as far as my take on this is that we still have options to be able to get a Shedeur cam, right? So obviously, like I just said, we're gonna end up differently in the door. We're not gonna stay at 6, right? Um, just because of that Tennessee and Jacksonville game. So the order's gonna change, right? Um, obviously, a couple key things here. You want Cleveland to preferably win one, right? New England as well. But this is the thing: New England is not really looking for a quarterback, right? So they have their quarterback set. They're good on that. Um, Cleveland, like I said, they just restructured Watson, so he's getting his big contract. So they're not really looking for a quarterback per se, right? So that gives us options. So the mandate has been quote unquote given, though it's been denied publicly, obviously. But we're going after quarterback. That's plain and simple. We're going after quarterback this year, and you know we have to do whatever it takes to get that. And that's basically been said by Mark Davis, right? We got Tom Brady in here now, so it's been said that Tom Brady is going to be kind of spearheading that NFL draft project. Um, so really applying pressure to Coupon Tom, right, to go ahead and really, um, really go ahead and pursue and be aggressive in this draft to trade up. So if we're at 5, we're at 4, and we need to go ahead and get Cam, or we need to go ahead and make sure that we get Shedeur. Um, we're gonna have to do that. If let's say, worst case fucking scenario, right? We get knocked down to 10th, 11th. That's going to require more of an aggressive move to go ahead and get up on that draft, right? So um, when you're being mandated by your boss, right, to go ahead and do something, you're most likely going to do it. If not, it's going to cost you your job. But obviously, that's not Tom Telesco's mo. He is a very conservative GM, as we all know. He likes to be more strategic than really rolling the dice, right? He plans his picks very carefully, as he should, right? But if he's not able to obtain his, 1 or 2 or 3 top picks, he's going to go to the next best player, right? He won't really go ahead and try to be aggressive to go up to try to get his guys. So, but this year is going to be different. Obviously, the pressure is really being applied to him to go out and get Shedeur. Obviously, the relationship between Shedeur and Mark Davis and Tom Brady is relevant, where they really want him, right? Even though it's not really being said, and they're trying to go ahead and downplay his worth. Um, they're still going to go out there and try to get him. So, um, yeah, I mean that's. I feel like there is that option. I mean, biggest thing here is obviously if we lose the next 2, right? Which, mind you, um, this game on Sunday, we're favored to win, right? I still think it's a toss up because sometimes we fucking shit the bed and we fucking lose when we're supposed to win. And if you're a Raider fan, that's happened many a times, right? Um, we can go ahead and end up losing, right? If we win, obviously we go down. But if we lose this one, which we have a 50-50 shot of doing, that helps us go up. Obviously, we have the last game versus the Chargers. Though it's in Vegas, I don't really see us winning that one. Chargers have been playing really good. Their record speaks for themselves. Now, the potential of having Herbert sit and some of their starters sit could be a possibility. that's where we would have the chance of potentially, beating out the Chargers. It all depends what their situation is. If they've already clinched a playoff berth, um, they might sit their starters. If they're still in the hunt, where our win, their game versus us counts towards them getting in or not, they're going to go ahead and start their starters, and they're going to give it to us. Obviously, it's a rivalry game, no matter what. If positions were reversed, we're going to go out there and give it to them, no matter what. Right? We're going to go ahead and come in, smash their teeth in, and play hard all 4 quarters. So, and that's just for bragging rights. It's for pride and all this shit. So, I see the Chargers playing all their guys. So, and I don't see us pulling that one out. So if that happens, obviously hope best case scenario will probably end up best case scenario we end up 2, maybe 3. Realistically, we'll probably end up between that 3 and 4 position, and then we have options. The likelihood of us getting Cam or Shedeur is going to be good. Now, we could still get Shedeur even if New York loses the rest of the games, which looks like that's going to happen. And like I've said before, and I talked about this briefly on Wednesday's show and on Monday's show. So make sure you guys tap in and check that out. But there always could be a deal made with New York, right, to go ahead and make sure that they draft Cam instead of Shedeur. So Cam can go number 1. We can get Shedeur at 3 or 4, right? And because obviously Shedeur favors to go to the Raiders more than New York, though he don't mind going to New York, right? He really doesn't care as far as whether it's New York. If Cleveland, he's probably going to pass up on that, right? But if it's New York or Vegas, it's probably, he don't mind wherever he goes, right? But for us, on our interest, we want to make sure that we go ahead and go out and get Shedeur. So that might be a deal where we have to go ahead and either it's a trade situation. It might be we kick some capital over to go ahead and secure Shedeur. And that if that's the case, obviously, if no deal is made and we end up with Cam, that we're not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. I'm pretty sure a lot of the Raider Nation will not be mad at that as well. So, again, there's options. Don't freak out just because we won on Sunday. Obviously, if we win tomorrow, that does change things. But again, this is where you have your GM go out and get you that 4 or 5 3 position in the order to go out and make those deals to get you up there. That's what he's brought in for, right? He's brought in to go ahead and put a team together, a winning team. So obviously we did not have that this year. We had a band-aid and kind of cookie cutter this shit. And we see the results, right? We see the results on basically what the efforts of last season, the off season, basically paid out here. And being 3-12 is not good. I, as a fan, obviously, I fucking hate it, right? Pick or no pick. We're talking about the pick because we've sucked so much that we're now in line to get one, right? But if we had another mediocre season where we're 8-9, 9-8, and we're not really looking towards playoffs, or we're, 7 and 10, that's a failure. That's still a failure, But now we're talking about it more because our record is so shitty that we are now in the hunt for a top pick, right? So that's his job. He has to go out there and put a winning team together, and hopefully that does happen in this offseason. Obviously, there's still more things. You got free agency literally right around the corner. Talks about possibly acquiring T. Higgins is been floating out there. Um, Nick Chubb's. So a couple other key areas where obviously we need desperate help in that we need to fill, and that's where it's going to come from. It's going to come from us being aggressive in the draft, going out and getting our quarterback, because obviously it does require for us to go ahead and move forward to go ahead and go out and get a draft, right? I'm gonna get a quarterback, right? So um, you know, and then you fill the other spots with free agency. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the offseason with free agency, and I'm going to go ahead and cover that as well um, throughout the shows that we do moving forward next month. Not only here, but obviously at the Raider Connection on every damn Wednesday with the guys Cheeto Linus, Jeff New England Booster, and LV Raider 10. So make sure you guys tap into that as well. And really quick, obviously, if you guys are watching the show, make sure you guys hit that like button. If you're new to the show, make sure you hit that subscribe. Keep supporting the show. I appreciate you guys so much for jumping on the show and catching me on every live, right? So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. But let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Obviously, what happens if we just can't get up to top five, right? And we lose out on Cam, we lose on Shedeur. Um, what do we do, right? Who do we draft? We need a quarterback. That's plain and simple, right? Um, will Dylan Gabriel be a prospect that we go after? I mean, I think at this point, I think he would be somebody that we go after. I mean, you got Jackson Dart. That's another name I've thrown out there before. Obviously, Jackson is the taller of the two, right? And so, but Dylan is way more accurate. That guy is accurate from 35 and under, and the kid can scramble, right? The only downfall to Dylan Gabriel is that he's fucking short as fuck, right? I think he bills at 5'11" or something like that, but realistically, he's like around 5'9", right? So um, he, he's basically he can't see over his lineman. That's kind of where we're gonna be at. But that's also an advantage if you want to look at both sides of the coin, right? He will be able to go ahead and hide behind his lineman. So any edge rushers looking to blitz or attack, it's going to be hard to kind of find him, right? Next thing you know, the guy's like running down, 10 yards down the field. So I see that as an advantage, right? But you know, obviously the height issue is the biggest thing here. But I think he is a good prospect. I mean, obviously he's with one of the best team, basically the best team in the nation right now. He's about to play his championship game or getting ready to get up. I think they have one more playoff game or something like that before they get to the national championship game. So being in that position, being in the best team in the nation, it does matter. But this guy is projected to go second or third round. So that's a salute to you guys if you guys are having your morning coffee like me. But this guy's projected to go second or third round. So that's a benefit for us. I don't think he'll go that far down. I don't think third, maybe second. I think late first. So you can always go in and trade back. You can just go ahead and draft them at if you're at 11, 12, 15. We're probably going to go if we end up winning the next two games, right? We fuck around going on a 3-game winning streak. We're going to be knocked out basically top 10. We're probably going to end up 16th or something like that. So you can either draft them at 16, right? Or go out and get yourself a running back or go ahead and get yourself a receiver, right? We do need receivers. And then you draft the second round if he's available. You do that. So, but I think he is a viable option for us to go ahead and get. This is, and again, this is if we cannot get Cameron Shedeur. Like that, if that ship has sailed, um, we need to get something right. We need to get the best available quarterback available, basically. So I think it's either Dylan Gabriel or Jackson Dart that we go ahead and acquire. So, but yeah, really quick shout out to my guy Billy. What up, brother? Salute to you. Thank you for jumping on. I appreciate you. But yeah, Dylan Gabriel would be a prospect that we go after. Though he has his quirks, obviously, but you know, if not having Cameron Shedeur doesn't leave us too many options at quarterback. And then free agency, I mean, to there's not going to be a lot of players in free quarterback wise in free agency. I think Darnold, it's been thrown around. Obviously, Fields. Darnold might stay in Minnesota. He's had a pretty good year with them. Fields might be obviously an option, but I mean, he's more like a bridge quarterback. Obviously, we talked about a lot of people's talked about AOC staying on. Obviously, he has I think one more year in his contract in his rookie contract with us, so he's probably going to stick around. So as far as free agency and anybody that we get, mind you, even if we go out and get a Kirk Cousins is another one. If we go out and get like a Kirk Cousins or anything, it's a temporary fix, 1 or 2 years, maybe three max. But we're talking something for a long term. I'm talking about a franchise quarterback, right? And that's what we need. We need a franchise quarterback, somebody for the future to be able to go ahead and take us on a deep playoff run, in a couple of years. That's the goal, right? Eventually, winning the Super Bowl is the goal, and we're not going to do that with an AOC. I'm sorry to say, he's not the one, right? He'll get us to a decent record. He'll give us a mediocre record, but that's always what we're going to get. We might make a playoff appearance here and maybe once or twice, if that, but that's all we're going to get. And we're probably going to go ahead and go out like we did with Carr, right? We'll go out in the first round. So we need somebody to elevate us beyond the first round in the playoffs, right? Especially if we're trying to go all the way. So AOC is not going to be it. But yes, sir. Jackson Dart or Dylan Gabriel. Maybe we'll see. Hopefully, still the eye on the prize is Shedeur or Cam, obviously, right? So realistically, where do we end in the draft order, right? So 2 games left. With again New Orleans tomorrow and the Chargers next month in 2 weeks. And like I said, if we lose these 2 games, we might end up between the 4th and the 5th position, maybe 3rd if we're lucky. Second will be a little bit hard. Again, it depends on what the other teams do, right? So obviously, if Tennessee wins, they go down. If New England wins, they go down. Now New England has the Bills, and I forgot. I think they have the Colts tomorrow. If I'm not mistaken, I don't remember offhand, but I know they play the Bills for their last game. So, and I think they almost won their last game versus the Bills. I haven't been following, obviously, but from what I saw from memory, I think they almost won their game versus the Bills. So they're in it to win it. They're not laying down. They're still playing hard. Obviously, for them, that's a division rival, and if they can go ahead and knock off the Bills off on number 1 seed or wherever the situation is for them, they're going to go ahead and try to do it, right? So obviously, we want again. I'm not going to say root for fucking New England because fuck them, you know. But it would be preferable if they won their game against the Bills. Okay, the Giants. I looked at their schedule. They have really tough games. The last 2 games are really tough games, and for them, the way they've been playing, they just been playing like dog shit. I don't see them winning. I'm sorry to say, but they're probably going to stay at number one. Okay, by a stroke of miracle, if they happen to win their game, great. That that's gonna benefit us, obviously, right? But realistically, it's probably not going to happen. So they're probably gonna end up staying at number one with their overall pick, right? So we really got to concentrate basically on New England. Um, it's probably going to be Jacksonville and then Cleveland. And then we see what they do. Obviously, New England has their guy. Uh, Cleveland just restructured Watson. So if we're in between one of those guys, we'll be all right. And the reality of us drafting a Cam or Shedeur is going to be very, very real. So I think that we end up in that again, like I said, either 3, 4, or 5. It's going to be one of those. If we lose the next 2 games, obviously, if we win Sunday, we're probably going to be go down. We're probably going to go down to 10 or probably like around 16, around there. So we're probably going to be there. We're probably going to be knocked out of the top 10 at this point. So at that point, it's just we're gonna have to rely on good old Coupon Tom to try to get us Cam and Shedeur, and he is not about that. That is not his style. So having and mind you guys, if you have a GM who doesn't really by nature is not an aggressive, GM who really doesn't take risks like that. I don't know how effective he's going to be to try to get us up into the top 5. Um, that's really where his selling skills is going to come in, and he's going to have to go ahead and finagle these teams to give up their spots, right? If that means giving up a couple first rounders, if we have to give up second or thirds, I don't know. That's his mandate is to go out and get a quarterback. That's his mandate. That's his job. That's been said by Davis. Tom has kind of hinted towards that as well, not so much publicly, but that's really what Mark has really been behind after, right? So, um, he I think he knows it. Raider Nation knows it. We apply a lot of pressure on the team. And mind you, if you guys think that they don't really care about what we say, these fuckers do. They watch these shows sometimes, and they hear the fans. Obviously, as y'all know, we got rid of McDummy. That was us. That wasn't them. It was applied from the team. That was applied from the fans. So, um, they know we need a quarterback. They know we can't. We're tired of mediocrity. We're tired of not, having a shit season. Season over season after season after season after season, right? So they know we need a future. Carr's out, and Carr couldn't do it, right? I think McDummy did a couple of good things, if you could say that. Obviously, he brought us Jacoby Myers, but Carr, he probably knew that Carr wasn't going to be it. Though he fucked up by not getting C.J. Stroud, that would have been a fucking awesome pick, and he fucking turned it down for stupid Jimmy Glass, right? But he wanted his guy, but he should have still pursued him. And if anything, you sit him behind fucking Jimmy Glass, and then we knew what was going to happen, right? and then we would have been reaping the benefits of CJ Stroud, but that didn't play out, right? So, but the point being is that we all know what needs to be done. We all know what we need, right? Let's go ahead and let me hit up the chat because obviously chat lives do matter, and make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button as well. I appreciate you guys for being on the show today. What is up, Raider Nation 24? What's good, Raider Nation? Let's build right, play right. Let's win by playing on the field and attitude and heart. Commitment to excellence isn't easy. But that's our way. Yes, that is our way. We do have to build right, obviously. It does start in the draft and free agency. We have the last 2 games. Now, you see that on both sides of the spectrum, right? We have the last 2 games of the season. What does it really do for us, right? We're just playing for pride at this point. And AP, and I'll talk about AP in a little bit, but obviously AP is not playing for the draft or anything like that. And I don't even know if he's playing for his job anymore. But he right now, if anything, if you're gonna listen to the rumors, he's probably just playing for his resume, right? So, but if you're looking at it towards the draft, these next 2 wins don't really mean a whole lot, right? They actually kind of hurt us. So, but obviously, if we win, I'm not gonna be mad at that. I'm not that type of dude. It's just like fuck, we fucking lost and fuck this, I embrace it because again, that's Tom Tedesco's job. He has to go out and get us up there if we fall down, right? If we fall to 15, 16, 20th, whatever, it's his job to go up and get us up there. So, that's what he's brought in for. He's brought in to put a team together for us, right? And that's the thing that we have to remember. That's his fucking job, right? If you know, if he's been told, hey, you need to go out and do whatever it takes to get us a quarterback, that's what the fuck he has to do. Because if he doesn't do it, guess what? He's not going to be here. That's just plain simple. Because you're going against ownership. Ownership is the one mandating this. They're paying your bills. They're writing the check to you every month or every 2 weeks, whatever. They're the ones paying the bills. Gotta do it, right? Gotta do it. Again, salute to you, Billy. Appreciate you, brother, for jumping on. Lake Show Raider, thank you, brother. I appreciate you with the subscribe. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you so much. Nice. Name Raider Nation 24 named our daughter Autumn Wynn and our second son Raider. We bleed silver and black. All respect to all angles. Just want us to be what we can be. Love you, Nation. Keep doing what you're doing. Yes, 100%. And again, we all have different views on this shit. We all, some people are on Team Tank because of the draft. Some people are, hey, let's just fucking play hard and win. And let's see what happens in the offseason. But at the end of the day, y'all, we just want to have the best team available, the best team possible. We want to fucking win. We're tired of this shit where we're having fucking terrible seasons, season after season, right? We just want to win. And we all can agree upon that. We all can be united behind that. And I couldn't have said it better myself. And to that, brother, I'm trying to convince my wifey to name our son coming middle name Raider too. I'm trying to pitch that. Getting shot down, but it's all right. I'm still working on it. I got a couple more months. So, yeah. But yeah, shout out to my boy Leo. Salute, brother. Hey, it's all good, man. Thank you. I appreciate you jumping on, supporting. 100%, man. Thank you for jumping on. But yeah, so some fans trying to name their kid Tank. Fuck. All right. Hey, wherever floats your guys' boat, I would stick with Raider. I like the Autumn Wind. Autumn Wind is a very beautiful name. So that's what's up, man. I like that. But yeah. So for sure. But back to the topics here. Obviously, like I said, I think we end between the third spot and fifth spot in the draft. That's if we lose the next two games. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, that's really going to dictate. So what happens tomorrow really going to set the tone. I'm not really too worried about the Charger game, but let's see what happens tomorrow. Obviously, right? But the other biggest news. So stepping away a little bit from the draft, obviously, the other news out there is AP on his way out, right? Now, there's been a couple of things put out there, right? That AP might be already on his way out. That these are his last two games, and that Mark Davis has kind of made his decision on Antonio Pierce, not publicly, but privately. Obviously, again, this is just a rumor. Nothing has been confirmed officially. You guys can take that or take it or leave it. I don't know, but this is what has been put out there right now. Now, I've said it before in previous episodes and previous shows that if you have a 2-15 record, you have a 3-14 record, it's going to be hard to justify your job at the end of the year. It just is. How are you going to bring in, if you look at it this way, how are you going to bring in a premier quarterback, an elite quarterback like Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders to come in and play for you when you have a fucking shit record, right? When you're just a rookie yourself, you're trying to learn how to really manage a team, manage a game situation, right? And it might just have been too much for Antonio Pierce. That is a real possibility. But obviously, if he had a better year like this year, we might not be having this conversation as far as tank wise, as far as the draft, as far as Shedeur. Obviously, this is the thing. Anything that we talk about as far as us Raider fans and the Raider organization, we make that shit relevant. I don't give a fuck what fucking team we root for. That is the facts. Once we start talking shit, saying things out of our mouth, it starts becoming a trend. We are the trendsetters. I feel that because it's anything negative or good that hits the media about the Raiders, it's like wildfire. So this is another thing, right? Do I agree that AP should be on his way out? I don't agree with that because this is basically his rookie year, right? He's gonna make mistakes. We all know that shit. Two, injuries. Injuries have been a motherfucker. We are 3/4 of our starting team is out on IR, right? We just had AOC banged up. The dude broke his fucking thumb. He had a bone bruise. So we're having those type of issues, right? And when you're having third, fourth string guys, literally you're trying to get guys, you're pulling guys constantly from your practice squad. And this year has been so fucking crazy, guys, that where we're seeing like reports as so-and-so has been activated from the practice squad. So-and-so has been activated from the practice squad. That has been the story of this year. We're just pulling guys off the fucking street. And he's expected to put fucking wins together versus the division, which is one of the hardest divisions in the NFL, the AFC West, right? And obviously, that's a challenge in itself. Though we've come close in some games, not a lot of games, in some games, still to pull out a winning season is unrealistic. You're gonna have mistakes. Also, too, he has so many fucking advisors behind him. He's probably so confused on which fucking direction he needs to fucking listen to. And again, this is just him probably over planning, where he just filled himself a lot with advisors where he can't really go on off his instincts. Also, you just had a new GM come in, right? You were working with Champ Kelly last year. Everything was copacetic. You had a great vibe going on. And now you got this guy, Tom Telesco from the Chargers, and you guys don't see fucking eye to eye. And it's self-evident. I don't even have to fucking, put it out. I don't even have to make the shit up because it's so clear in his press conferences where he's like, when they ask him a question about the draft or who to go out and get, you need to talk to the third floor. You need to talk to Lesko, right? That right there, the way that it's been said now, you can say, well, it's just because he said it so many times and all the shit. You could just tell their relationship is not the best relationship. So, but the record speaks for itself, right? Uh, 3-12 currently, 2 games left. You might win one, so you might go 4-13. 4-13 is not a great record, right? But I honestly think you build his team next year, and then he's on the hook. You have to, right? You have to set somebody up for success. And this offseason, he was not set up for success. We went out, we failed to draft Jaden Daniels, right? And we all know what he's doing now. He's balling out in fucking Washington, right? We failed to get him. We got Gardner Minshew. He wanted to start AOC, looks like. He got overruled. And they put in Minshew, right? And though it was kind of an even thing either way, but he wanted to go with AOC. He likes AOC. They have a pretty good relationship, and you can see that on the field as well. But that he got overruled on that, right? So we started Minshew, and we knew how all that went, right? Dog shit playing, terrible mistakes, and we looked like a fucking JV team out there sometimes. And I'm not. I know I'm exaggerating, but it's just the reality of things, right? So he had a piss poor performance, and then he broke his collarbone. Now he's out, right? Now we're having AOC. Performance has been slightly better, but still the same thing. So um, we had defensively, you got a little bit of help with Christian Wilkins, but then he got injured. He went on IR. His season was done, right? From week 5. So we haven't seen him since. But it's been an atrocious year for him as far as for injuries. So it's hard to put the finger on the guy saying that you fucked up. You had a fucking shit season. You couldn't make shit happen where, 3/4 of your fucking starters are out, on both sides of the ball. So what do you do? Right. But I think with those two things, you give him another shot. You put the team that he needs with a good offensive coordinator in place, and you see what happens in 2025. That's my take on that. I mean, obviously, there's people out there that are not AP fans, and I get it. 100% I get it. And I don't shit on that. I don't, because that's a lot of those points are valid. There are a lot of those points are valid. So really quick, let me go ahead and hit up the chat. Silverback, I would fire his ass right after that win last week. Again, this dude doesn't care. He's not about the fucking tank. He said that shit. I don't know. Again, I don't know if this guy was playing for his job or playing for a resume. That's what if the rumors are true, he's playing for a resume, right? He's trying to build his resume and put wins together so that way he can go ahead and put himself out there for next year to other teams, right? So yeah. Raider Nation 24 facts. Devontae left. We have won 3 games. How many losses were just bad coaching? I like AP. Just feel he needs to stay in his lane as a linebacker coach, not a head coach. Bring that dog to the line. Yeah, you can say that. I mean, obviously, there's been missed calls where challenge flags should have been thrown. You should. There's times where you should have gone for it at the goal line. Timeouts were mismanaged. I mean, these are impactful games, right? These are impactful things that either were done incorrectly or were not done entirely. And that, that cost us some games. So there may have been a couple of games that we could have won just if the game was managed correctly, right? Um, Ernest, salute to you, brother. Get used to Brady and the Patriot way. It's here. It's here to stay, for better or for worse. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think that Tom is just gonna try to do what Tom Tom thinks is best. Do I think it's necessarily the Patriot way? I don't know. Maybe. And we're about to get into that next topic to see whether or not that will be actually relevant or not. Because if Antonio is on his way out, there is already a top prospect for his to be his replacement. So you might not be far fetched on. You're not might not be out of that realm of possibility, Ernest. But I don't know. I think that Tom's just going to do things Tom way, and honestly, it might be time for that change. It might be time for us to kind of step away a little bit on what we've been doing normally, because what we've been doing for years on years hasn't been working. It hasn't worked. We're still mediocre. We're still shit. So having a different mind come in, a different point of view to maybe suggest or point out certain things, it might be a good thing. It might work. And at this point, what we've been doing hasn't been working. So um, we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, Silverback doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results should be our slogan, not commitment to excellence. Um, agree. I agree. Um, we've been doing the same things over and over and over, not drafting properly. Look at Carr. I mean, we got Carr, but we never planned after Carr, right? What happens when Carr gets ready to leave or we decide to trade him or whatever? So in this scenario, we had McDummy who basically let him go, right? We didn't trade him. We didn't get anything out of it. It was just peace out, gone. And we didn't have really anything in place to step in and take over, right? We didn't have anybody sitting behind him the last couple of years to really learn the system and learn to take over, right? At a moment's notice. We just had guys, we just had backups that we pull from free agency all the time. But we really didn't have anybody in there grooming to take over after Carr left, right? And that's a lot. That's what some teams are starting to do now. They're starting to sit their guys there, for a year, 2 years, to learn. And if they're if the QB1 gets traded or decides to go ahead and go somewhere else in free agency or whatever, they have the guy to step in, right? And that's the thing, piss poor planning, right? And that's what happened. So, um, Mike Rain, hire Ben Johnson, trade for Hooker. I don't know if Ben would come here. He has a really good situation in Detroit. I know that name has been tossed around. One thing with that is that Ben would want complete control. So if Ben comes, expect everybody to go. It'll be a clean house because he wants a lot of control. And that's kind of what's been really said by him, that he wants full control of the team, almost like his fucking GM too. And he wants to be a part of that draft and everything. So if that happens, which I do not think that's gonna happen, he's gonna clean house. We'll see everybody leave. Patrick Graham, all the coaching staff will be gone for sure, and probably some players too. So we'll see. Um, Rip Kobe, Lakers 24. I'm a Laker fan, so RIP Kobe for sure. I have a bad feeling Raiders win tomorrow. And if Chargers win today, sit there, whole team next Sunday, shaking my head. So um, maybe the Raiders will win tomorrow. Like I said, it's a toss-up. It's 50-50. We are favored to win, so you guys know. Just because uh, the Saints are going through the same shit we are, where a lot of their guys on fucking IR, so they're playing with guys off the street as well. Um, so it's a toss-up at this point, but we are favored to win that game for sure. Um, but real quick, Silverback, Ben Johnson going to Chicago, maybe. We'll see. Honestly, it just kind of depends how the Lions season plays out. So obviously, if they go all the way, he's probably going to stay in Detroit. I don't want to see why not, unless again he gets a coaching gig, and that maybe Chicago. If Chicago is down to give him full control and literally rebuild their whole fucking team, maybe he goes. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I don't think he comes to the Raiders. I don't think that Mark would let him get that much control, right? So we'll see what happens. But obviously, if AP goes, who would be his top candidate? The name Mike Grable, former head coach of the Tennessee Titans, has been thrown out there, and he would probably be the best fit. He had a pretty good stint with Tennessee. Unfortunately, that didn't work out, but they did have some playoff appearances. He has a really good relationship with Tom Brady. And that's probably the key factor here is that relationship with Tom Brady. And that goes back to Ernest saying, welcome to the Patriot way. Obviously, you're going to go with a coach that you are very familiar with, though Tom was never coached by Mike. Um, they play together, but he never coached. But he likes what Mike did in Tennessee. He's proven, he's experienced. That goes a long way, and I would not be mad at that if that happened. If AP goes, which I don't want him to go, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to go ahead and shed tears about it. And if they bring in Mike Grable, I'm mad at that either. And it's probably going to be the same thing. It's probably going to be a full rebuild. Maybe Patrick Graham stays, and even with Patrick Graham, it's already been talked about that he didn't sign his extension contract, so he's a free agent after the end of the season, right? So literally after the Charger game, that Black Monday, he's a free agent, and he's already started to go out there and get coaching interviews for head coach. So he may stay or he may go. And I ain't mad at that either. I ain't mad at that because if he goes, we might be able to go ahead and pick up Robert Saleh to come in as DC. So there's that option, right? And a DC, Mike Grable connection, that would be good too. Also, if the Giants decide to fire Dable, that guy might be our offensive coordinator. So having those three guys and in the organization for next year, I think it's going to be I think it will be a good fit. But that name has been thrown around as being the top candidate for him to come in. Obviously, we had Belichick, but he went to college and he's over there at North Carolina now. And it looks like he's trying to fucking poach Scott and Norv over to mostly Scott to UNC, and that's fine by me because we as a team have not been able to break that 19-20 point ceiling that we have, and for him though he has one win that we still haven't been able to break 20 points. If you're good a coordinator and you're a good play caller, breaking 20 shouldn't have been that hard, right? Especially if we have AOC, we should have been able to do that. We haven't. Even with Jacksonville, with the return of AOC, we still couldn't break 20. So I'm all in agreement that we move on from Scott. We'll thank him for his service at the end of the season, and then we'll see him off on his way. So, um, but yes, Mike Grable is top candidate for replacing AP if AP is truly on his way out at the end of the season. And again, it's that Patriot connection, but Mike has been doing this, you know, for a little while now, and he's experienced. He's been to the playoffs, um, you know. So I don't think it's so much the Patriot way. I think it's the Mike Grable way, his system, that we're probably going to see, right? If Belichick were to come in, that would have been a different story. That would be more. That would be truly the Patriot way. I don't see that with Mike Grable. So, um, but yeah, let's see what happens. Obviously, there's other guys being named. Obviously Ben Johnson is one of them. I don't see him coming over here. So it'll be interesting who interviews for that HC position if AP goes. But the other biggest news, and I want to hear the chat really, really pop off once I hit you guys with this next topic. But obviously, before I do that, as usual, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. Keep supporting this show. Obviously, I try to bring you guys good content. Make sure you guys keep supporting that by hitting that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications. Obviously, I'm doing 2 shows a week, doing the Raider Connection every damn Wednesday with Cheeto Linus, LB Raider 10, Jeff New England Boosters. We're breaking down each week's game, so make sure you guys tap into that. That's 7 p.m. Every damn Wednesday Pacific time. And then I'm doing my show weekly. I do the post-game reaction show as well, so I will do one tomorrow after the game as well, and then we'll talk about that game. So make sure you guys turn on your notifications for that. Obviously, my shorts are fucking hilarious. Check those out. Oh, you'll fucking laugh your ass off, but make sure you guys tap into that. But let's go ahead and move on to my next topic. And again, I want to hear that chat going, guys, and let me know your thoughts. Maxx Crosby and his contract. Does he extend or does he go? And I'm gonna say this to y'all. There has been again the trade talks going around again, right? But now is it more of a realistic thing or is it still a lot of fluff, right? Um, Obviously, if you guys haven't seen on his show, The Rush, that came out, I think, earlier this week, he talked about his contract, right? He talked about Myles Garrett out of Cleveland, out of the Browns, and what he's doing there, and him, Myles Garrett, possibly exiting Cleveland and going somewhere else for a ring, right? Or a winning season, I should say. They haven't had too many winning seasons, obviously, in Cleveland, so they're kind of in the same boat as us. And one thing that Max talked about is obviously his contract. He doesn't have any more guaranteed money uh, this season coming up, right? So after the season's over, no more guaranteed money. So if he gets injured, he doesn't get paid, basically. Um, so is that is that considered more of a type of tactic, or is he really tired of not being able to have a winning season, being stuck in mediocrity? Um, is that what that means? I want to hear you guys' thoughts about that because what I think, this is just a contract negotiation. He's using his platform to make that because he knows now damn well that whatever he talks about in that podcast or in general, he can talk to the media, anything that it says, and he does not make a clear, precise context about it, people are going to take that 10 different ways. And he said that. So he knows that by him putting that out there, by him seed planning that, um, he's doing a contract negotiation. He's applying pressure to Telesco, to Davis, to make sure he gets paid, right? I think he's on his second year on his 4-year contract extension for that 98 mil. Um, so this is the thing. Do you re-extend that guy for another 4 more years? Because mind you, I think Max is 27, and he's his shelf life is starting to diminish a little bit, right? He might have about maybe 6, maybe 7 good more years. That's if he takes care of himself. If he's not playing every fucking snap at 100%, right? Um, we might get that much out of him, but realistically, probably like 4 or 5 more years. The rate he plays. So, do we extend him? Obviously, my thoughts are we extend him. We can restructure him. We can bump him. I would like to actually extend his contract and have him obviously stay with us for his whole career, right? Um, but that's just me being selfish. That's me being a fan of Maxx Crosby. Me being a fan of the Raiders, obviously, and we as fans, we're fucking selfish. We don't care. But that's me being selfish, right? Realistically, do you trade Max? Now that's the talk that we talked about that on Wednesday. Do you trade Max if you had the opportunity to get the number 1 pick? So if we're at 16, do you trade Max to get to number 1 or 2? That's a good question, yo. I mean, tell me what you guys think about that, because it's not a popular subject. I feel it's almost taboo, if you want to say, but um those are conversations we got to talk about. Is he tired? And also, too, mind you, you can let Max go, trade with, do like a 3-way trade, let him go to Detroit, get his ring, because the trajectory that the Lions are going, it looks like they're going to get there. If not this year, within the next couple of years, uh, and win a Super Bowl. That's the trajectory that they're going, and they did a full rebuild, and they're starting to reap the benefits of that. So, and Max has been a lifelong fan of the Lions before, obviously, he came over to the Raiders. He's from Detroit, Eastern Michigan. So, for him going back home and winning a championship, probably be a highlight in itself. Though would he come back? I don't know. I don't think he would come back, but he loves the Raiders. Obviously, he does. He publicly says that he doesn't want to go anywhere. But the talk that he did do the other day on his podcast kind of hints a little bit that he is not happy. But this all could be just a negotiating strategy on his part. He's probably setting the tone for that, and having us, Raider Nation, start talking about that, possibly him leaving. Obviously, I don't want him to leave, and there's a lot of people that don't want him to leave either. But really quick, hit up the chat. Billy Davis says he's not going anywhere. I don't think he's going anywhere either, brother. Silverback. Uh, love Max, but I'm trading him while his value is still high to get a contender and a draft Abdul Carter if the QBs are gone. That's not a bad idea. That is not a bad idea. I don't agree with it because I love Max. That's the only thing I want to say to that. I don't agree with it because I love Max. I want him to retire as a Raider, but um, that is something that's been thrown around, and you know, um, having Max, giving the opportunity to go to a different team and possibly having a winning season. Obviously, I don't think there'll be too many teams that he would want to go to, but Detroit being one of them will probably be it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But um, you know, um, I think Max stays. I think we extend his contract. He just got a bonus, so you guys know. I think this past offseason, he got like a $6 million bonus just because he's fucking Maxx Crosby. He's fucking bad motherfucker, you know? And they just give him $6 million. So I think he's just trying to make sure he's secure. He gets his guaranteed money because he's putting his body out there on the line. This guy is a fucking animal. He's a workhorse. He's out there in the off season, working like he's in season, trying to get better year after year. And he's just trying to get paid, right? Don't blame the guy, right? But I don't know. I don't see him going. I don't see him leaving. I think he stays with us. And especially if we're able to go ahead and draft a Shedeur Cam and putting a good offense together, if he sees that, he'll know like, okay, cool. We're heading in the right direction. We're heading towards a positive outlook. We're trying to do all the right things to create a winning season. We're not trying to band-aid this shit. And that's the thing. A lot of the times that's our rep. We're trying to band-aid things. We're trying to bring in this quarterback or this receiver to pair up with this guy. And a lot of it's not really future planning. We're not really setting the tone for years to come. We're just trying to go ahead and make this next season work, and that's it. I think now we've shifted from trying to make this next season work to let's try to make the next 10 years work. And that's the way we should really be looking at things. We should really try to go ahead and try to make things work for the next, decade coming, where we have a franchise quarterback in place, a really good franchise quarterback in place. We have a good receiver. We have a solid running back. We drafted Jacobs, and now Jacobs is gone, right? So we once we get one of those really good players, because we're so mediocre, they don't stick around, and we have to change that. So, yeah, I think Max stays. Again, let me know you guys' thoughts on the chat. Make sure you guys, light that chat up, and let me know you guys' thoughts on that. Wonder if they don't see a difference between Shedeur or Cam Ward. Obviously, Shedeur, I feel Shedeur is better than the two. And the way that Shedeur plays, as far as the way he prepares for games, the way he can go ahead and read defenses. Obviously, one of his Achilles heel, and then that just goes because he's young, he's playing in college, is that he holds on to the ball too damn long, right? Obviously, when he comes over to the NFL, he can't do that. He's gonna get fucking torn up. He's gonna be sacked. He's gonna get hurt. But as far as him coming into a system where he can go ahead and pick up and learn things right away, he's gonna be your best bet. Let's say for example, we can't pick up another few guys for our O line, because that's something we need. And I say this year after year, we got to fucking rebuild that O line, and it always falls in deaf ears. We get a receiver or somebody fucking else, but we need to beef up that O line, and we finally started to do that this past offseason with JPJ and Glaze, right? And they worked out. But we obviously need more. We need a few more guys to help out. I don't see Andre James sticking around at the end of this season. He's probably going to be out, and I would love to see JPJ as center full time. And it looks like he's going to play guard on this next game, so you guys know. But we get more guys like that, right? We can get another lineman from the draft or two, and then fill in with somebody else from free agency, right? Linemen a little bit hard to come by in free agency, like really good ones. They usually kind of re-sign with their team or get snatched up pretty quickly. So that's kind of the difference. Shedeur is going to be the more QB ready, NFL ready quarterback out of the two. That's why we want to go ahead and draft Shedeur. We need somebody that can come in and just play right away. optimally, and it's been said by Tom that if we draft a quarterback, he wants to sit him. And that's why we would also, if we keep AOC, right, which it looks like that's going to happen, he's probably going to sit behind AOC half season or a season to really learn the system and really learn how things um, play out and really happen in the NFL, because the speed between college and the NFL, they're two different speeds. It's way faster, way quicker in the NFL than it is in college. So he has to start getting used to that. Obviously, he's going to play preseason. He'll have preseason snaps, and we'll really see Shedeur perform and see what he can do. But having him sit half the season, if you sit him the first 5, 6 games of the season, and just really see, really have him learn, it's going to benefit him, obviously. But that means if we send him a full season, that means another year of mediocrity. But obviously, we're doing it for a reason, because we want him to learn the system. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, with even if we were able to go ahead and get Shedeur, which is still a possibility, it's not out. It's not gone yet. Especially if we lose tomorrow, definitely not gone, because that means we're in the top 5 for sure. So let's go to Robert. Now how's the problem with Mark Davis. Mark, I mean, obviously the Davises have been here for years and years. They've had their way. Obviously, Mark has always said that he's not a football guy. He does his football IQ is not really high. And I think now with him bringing in Tom into the ownership and really giving him a lot of the reins, football wise, football operation wise, it's probably that. And I have my take on that. And I think that the Davises are planning to exit out of the Raiders within the next 10, 15 years. Um, Obviously, if you guys don't know, his mom has majority of the control, um, and then it's him, right? And his mom is already she up there, and she's probably not going to be with us for much longer, right? And then it's Mark. Now, and he's not a spring chicken himself. I think he's in his 60s, so he's probably going to want out. He doesn't have any heirs, and he doesn't have any sons. He doesn't have any children, so he doesn't really have anybody to leave it to. So it makes sense for him to start selling parts off the team, and I feel that it could be a possibly turning of the guard, just kind of how if you follow baseball, kind of like how the Dodgers did. And I use that example because one, I'm a fan, but two, they just won the World Series, right? They won the World Series, the last two World Series in the last 5 years, or yeah, 4 or 5 years. So they had an owner similar to Mark who had ownership for 10 years, and team was doing terrible, and then he got pressure to sell, and they had Magic Johnson and a group, a conglomerate, come in, and they purchased the team, and they influx a bunch of money into the team, and then next thing you know, they started having winning seasons, and then before you know it, they won the first World Series back in 2020, and then just this past season, right? And they're putting so much money into the team. Their salary cap is fucking insane. They're basically the New York Yankees of the West now, as far as salary cap wise, where they're going out and just acquiring dudes, and they just paid Otani like $500 million or $750 million on his contract for 10 years. It's fucking insane, right? So you're starting to see that they just brought in a new group, so you guys know. They just approved them recently. Um, they got, I think, another 5 to 10% as well. And so you're starting to see that happen, the passing of the guard. So that this might be the time where we're starting to see the Davises are not going to be around forever. That's for sure. We know what's going to happen one day. Now, if it gets passed over to somebody else in the family, I don't know how extended they are. If that happens, well, that's a different story. Would they have majority control? They probably won't. They probably have minority control. There might be a silent partner type thing at the end of the day, but we'll see what happens. But obviously, we all know the day where the Davises are no longer part of the Raiders is going to happen. But they are legacy. They're the legacy. Al's legacy. Not so much. I don't know about Martin, but Al is legacy. He basically got this team, and he branded this team. He made this team, and we're always going to recognize that. We're always going to go ahead and acknowledge that as well. So, but obviously, of them running the team operational wise, that's starting to phase out. And with Tom coming in, that's what's happening. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But that's my take. That I think that the Davises are heading on out of the Raiders. Good show. Keep going. Thank you. Appreciate you, brother, for jumping on. But let's go ahead and go on to the next segue here. And obviously, talked about Sunday. We have a game tomorrow. We have the Saints. Predictions versus Saints. Now, no Kamara for New Orleans. And salute to everybody out in the game. I know a couple people out there. I hope you guys are having a good time. If you are watching the show and New Orleans, I hope you guys are having a good time out there. But yeah, salute to you guys, obviously. And then salute to everybody in the show. And make sure, again, please like and subscribe. Make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Turn on your notifications. I'm dropping shorts. I'm dropping shows. So make sure you guys turn on notifications. I have guests. I just had LB Raider 10 on Monday for Overreaction Monday, and most likely probably do another Overreaction Monday. So it looks like I'm going to try to go ahead and come in on a Saturday show. And that's kind of been thinking about that for the last few weeks. So probably going to make that happen. I'm not stopping just because the season's over. So y'all know, because we still have all this shit. There's more shit coming. I mean, we just talked Maxx. We talked AP. I dabbled Patrick Graham. All this shit is coming out. Looks like there's going to be some changes coming in the offseason. Obviously, we're going to need a offensive coordinator as well, because I don't see the Turner sticking around. But there's a lot of stuff that's going to happen free agency as well. So make sure you guys tap in. Make sure you guys turn on notifications for that, for sure, 100%. But going back to the Saints game tomorrow in New Orleans. We are favored to win. I don't know the spread offhand. I'm sorry, I couldn't tell you. But we are favored to win, I think slightly. But obviously, they don't have Alvin Kamara. Looks like Carr is still fucked up. He's not going to come. He's not going to come around and play that game and have that lose to all 32 teams. And I was looking forward to that. I don't hate Carr, but it'll be cool to fucking give him that little asterisk on his record that he lost to all 32 teams. He's lost to all 31 teams, but besides us. So, but it looks like no Carr for Sunday's game. He still has a fractured hand. Try to beat Josh Allen and go for that first down and fucked around and got fucked up, right? So he's out. Olave, I don't know if he comes in. Fun fact, my wifey is a Saints fan, so that's going to be fun tomorrow. And I hope we don't get fucking skunked like we did a couple of years ago, because I fucking had to hear shit for a whole month. Where were your boys at? Where were your boys at? Right? I'm not trying to have that this time, but we are favored to win. Obviously, if we win, we go down, right? If we lose, we go up. So that is the thing. I think, I think if AOC obviously has a good game, and shout out to Mosa Raider, Team AOC. If AOC starts airing that fucking ball out, it's going to be a long day for the Saints. We're probably fucking around and win. Now, I don't think we break that 20 point ceiling. I think we still stay under 20, but it'll probably be a close game where it'll be like a 17-14 type game. or 14-13. It might be a close game. We just had that Monday night game versus the Falcons. It was a terrible fucking game, slow, boring game where we lost. We didn't even hit 10. We didn't even hit 10 points. It's like 14-9 or whatever it ended up being. So it could be a repeat of that as well. So, but it might be flipped this time. But if you're on Team Tank, you don't want them to win, obviously. And if we lose, it'll probably be a 14-10 type score, right? If we win, it might be the 17-14, or it might be a 14-13 type score. That's my take on that. It just depends what you guys see. What if you're on Team Tank, if you're on let's just win, baby. I'm all for it. Billy Davis, Raiders win 20-10. You're generous, giving them 20 points. So you're saying they're going to break the 20-point ceiling, or they're going to hit the 20-point ceiling. All right, there you go. That's not out of the realm of possibility. I'll give you that. So we'll see what happens, but I think I don't know. It's a toss up. I think we lose. I'm gonna just say that. I think we lose, but I could be wrong, and there'll be a close game if we lose. It's just I don't know. Just expect to see a long game. I just hope to see a competitive game. To be honest with you guys, at the end of the day, I just want to see a competitive game. I don't want the Raiders to have dumbass mistakes where we're trying to run it out of the our own end zone, and then we get safety like we did Monday night. So that was pretty fucking awful. But yeah, that's my take on that. Again, final thoughts, and I'll go over that quickly. But let me go ahead and hit up the chat again. Chat lives matter, and salute to everybody on the chat. Ralph, I believe Tom Telesco will build this team going forward. Just give him time. Also, get ready for a win tomorrow. Just saying, possibly and possibly. It's his job, and you're a little bit late, but it's his job to put us build us a team. That's what he's in for, right? He was brought in to build us a team to draft good, right? Draft us good quality players. That's one of the attractive things that Mark saw in him, right? And now that we're going after a quarterback, that it aligns with that. The only thing with that is he's a very conservative GM. He doesn't take a lot of risk. He's not an aggressive where he'll go out and try to get the number 2 or 3 or 4 pick if we're down to 20th or something like that, or 16th. 16th is the real possibility if we win the next 2 games, or if we win tomorrow, we're probably going to knock down to the top 10. We'll probably be 10th or 11th or 12th. So that may be a real possibility, but he's not known to be an aggressive GM, and that's the problem. But we all know that we need a quarterback. It's been said, public or behind closed doors, by Mark, that we need to get a quarterback, right? Tom has been hinting the same way, right? So, and that's the thing. Would Tom Telesco be aggressive to get up there and get us a top pick if we're down on the order? So that's the thing. That's the belief right now, right? So that's where it's hard to believe whether he can do it or not. Silver Black. We normally lose 1 p.m. games. We'll see. It's a jet lag. We like to leave late. I think they left yesterday night or maybe today. I'm not sure. They leave pretty late. Usually leave Friday. Normally, if you're going East Coast or something like that, you would want to go Thursday or Wednesday to practice over there, get acclimated to the time change. They're on Pacific time. So having a 2 time zone change it's hard on your body. Shit. I live in New Mexico, and going to Dallas, when I used to fly into Dallas, and that's just 1 time zone. I'm gonna say that's 1 state over. It still takes it out of you. So they fly out pretty late. So you gotta give yourself a couple of days to kind of rewire your clock a little bit. So that's probably where that stems from. Shout out to Raider Ryan. Thank you, brother, for jumping on. I appreciate you. Megalodon, Ashton Genty, and again, Jerry Milrow. Sorry, you missed it, brother. You came in a little bit late, but Jalen Milrow is not entering the draft. He is staying on in college for another year. He's actually going to Oregon after this year. He's transferring to University of Oregon. He'll be a Duck next year. So no Jalen Milrow. But yeah, Raider Ryan. But yes, better play calling would make it for a more entertaining game. That safety the other game was just a horrific call out of shotgun out of the end zone. Yeah, it was just terrible. I don't know where that stemmed from. I don't know if Norv was the one calling that play, thinking like, we're going to be able to go ahead and because we have such a great run game that we're able to get out of our own end zone. Obviously, that wasn't the fucking case, but just dumbass fucking play calling like that. No more shades of Getsy. I want to be fully gone to that. And yeah, that play was kind of shades of Getsy, and I did not care for that whatsoever. Chaos Raider, if we win tomorrow, we drop to the 9th pick. Okay, thank you. Yeah, 9th or 10th, something like that. You probably be around that ballpark. I'm gonna take 9th. I'm gonna believe you and take 9. So yeah, top 10, 9th. That puts us a little bit more in the hole. That gives us more work to do. There'll be teams that are more quarterback needy at that point, probably ahead of us. Again, it all depends. It all depends who's going to be ahead of us and what they need. So, Billy Davis, what part of New Mexico you live at? I'm in Albuquerque, brother. So I am out here in Albuquerque from Cali originally, but I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I am on mountain time. People are so quick to forget AOC led a team for the most points in franchise history last year as a rookie with a fourth game, pretty much beating the Chiefs twice in their house, just lost because of a snap. Yes, that is facts. He almost did win that game on Black Friday. Fell a little bit short. That snap. Like I said, in my previous, and I think it was that video I did, episode 12. Make sure you guys check that out. But yeah, that obviously the call was fucked, but that play was so rushed that I don't know why we were rushing. The clock was stopped. And that play shouldn't have been rushed. But it was just miscommunication all around. It was loud, all that. But he did beat him the year before that. But that was defense really balling out on Christmas of last year. That really got that win, right? So, but AOC has been playing a little bit better, obviously. The difference between Gardner and him is apparent, right? It just follow he can adapt to the system a little bit better. He's not mobile. Mind you, that game on Sunday, he was fucking mobile. I saw him sitting in the fucking in the stands. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing? This guy didn't learn his lesson. He's over there trying to be fucking Shedeur, man, trying to fucking, scramble and do all this shit. So I was a little bit impressed by that. I think he was trying to make his point like, hey, I can be mobile too, motherfuckers. So, yeah. Raider Ryan, I'm all for the future of the Raiders. This season was over before he even started with a mediocre QB competition going on throughout the season. I agree 100% with that. This was a pretty fucked up season, and all draft aside and everything, I'm just looking forward to go ahead and having that over. So we'll see what happens. So Billy Davis, I'm in Colorado, bro. Hop, skip away. I'll hit you up. I go to the Denver game usually every year. I'll hit you up, man, for sure. 100%, bro. I go out there with all the Albuquerque fam. Raider Ryan, Close only counts in horses and hand grades. All right. Jack Kenna, salute to you, brother. Thank you for hopping on the show. I appreciate you. Gonna get ready to wrap it up in a little bit. Um, so yeah, again, I think we lose the next two games. Um, it'll be close tomorrow for sure. It will be really close. But you never know. We might fuck around and win because we are favored to win. Just despite all the injuries that we have. I'm sorry, despite all the injuries that Saints have, we have a lot of injuries too, but um, we look better. I mean, mind you guys, the Saints just got obliterated, by the Packers on Monday night. So that's why we're favored too. And it's just all the injuries that they have, and then we're looking a little bit better. We got Jacoby, we got Brock. Brock is getting ready to go ahead and break some records. We talked about it on Wednesday. I think he's only like a few yards shy of breaking the all-time record by Mike Ditka. So he's probably going to break it tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. I hope he does. Because I really want that kid to shine. If you're not a Tom Telesco fan, which I'm not really a Tom Telesco fan, he did three fucking right things for this draft. Obviously, you got Brock, you got JPJ, he got Glaze, and they all worked out for us. And it's crazy to think that your top three picks hit. It's almost unheard of, but it happens, and it happened. So we can look forward to that. It's just hoping that he is aggressive to do the things that he has to do to make the decision to go up. If we get knocked down to 9, if we get knocked down to 16, if we're in that third, fourth, fifth, if we're in the fifth position, fourth position, and there's a team that most likely is going to get a Shedeur or Cam, are we going to be left with our fucking zipper down, wondering what the fuck? He needs to be able to do what is necessary to be able to acquire that quarterback. So that's all it is making sure that he is aggressive. So we'll see what happens. But Jimmy says QB doesn't matter until we get coaching figured out. ALC would be talked about different if we played in LA, Minnesota, or San Fran. Try to trade for the first round for JJ McCarthy and move forward. Now, I don't know if he gets talked differently if he was out in LA or Minnesota. Again, I don't think he's a future. He's more of a bridge quarterback. He'll help to get our future draft pick, whether that's JJ McCarthy or somebody from the draft, just depending where we end. I think he'll be that guy. Now, I agree with you on that part. In a sense where QB still matters, but we do need to get coaching figured out, and that is a question for that we'll all have. Is that we have a lot of questions, right? First, we need to see whether AP is going to stay or go, because that does impact, right? If he goes, obviously, whoever's going to be the next head coach is going to decide, along with Tom, whether it's Grable or somebody else, who is going to be the coordinator, right? If AP stays with us, then it's probably going to fall more on Tom and the Toms to make that decision, right? And then whether or not you're going to let that coordinator be part of that draft. So it's kind of goes both ways, but Leo, don't give up a lot for a mid QB. I agree. If it's maybe if it's Jackson Dart or Dylan Gabriel, agree with that. If it's a Shedeur, you gotta go for it. That's my take on that. Silver. If we can't get Shedeur, I take your chance on Justin Fields in free agency. He'll be cheap and look a lot better with Pittsburgh than he did with Chicago. Yeah, and that's the thing. It was Getsy. Getsy fucking almost ruined that quarterback. He did look better with Pittsburgh. And again, it's just the difference of the scenery, difference in coaching makes a difference. That's why that happened. So he is an option. He'll be another bridge quarterback. I don't know if it'll be a long term solution. Again, we got to stop really looking at that short term where it's a year or two to try to get us deep a playoff run. We got to build something. We got to build a future. If we want consistency and start getting really out of that mediocrity era, we need to start building for the future. It won't happen in a year or two. It has to be built out, and that's the thing. And that's where Tom really has to come in and put things together to make that happen. Dart would be nice if we can get him in the third, maybe Graham or Carter in the first, and Hampton in the second. Yeah, that's if we stay at either we stay at 6 or 9. That would be an option that we go, and then we can get Gabriel or Dart second or third. I don't know if Dylan will be in the third. He'll probably go in the second or late first. So again, it all depends. We can always trade back to go ahead and get a quarterback if we feel a little bit antsy on that. So mind you, we fucking got screwed by Atlanta this past draft. So we were gonna get Penix. We're getting Penix at 13, and then they up and got him. And they're probably foreseeing that a situation like this with Kurt was going to happen, and he probably was going to fizzle out at the end of the season. And now they have Penix in there, and he's running the show. So, we never know. We don't have good history obviously, we don't have a good relationship in the NFL with other teams, but, money is money, drafts are drafts. So, that always speaks volumes. And, there's always teams out there willing to go ahead and negotiate. That speaks volumes. So, but it all depends. Sometimes if you snub someone, they'll go out of their way to make sure that you get fucked over. So, I'm more of let's go ahead and get what we need now right away, and then worry about the rest later, right? Whatever is least important after that. But you always, my take, that's my opinion, that's my view. You always got to get what's most important right away, and then worry about the rest later. But I still think that we can still get Cameron Shedeur. It's all depending on negotiations, all depending on where we end up. If we stay if we fall to 9th or out of the top 10, that's going to make it more challenging. But if we end up in the top 5, that's going to give us a pretty good position where we might just have to go up 1 or 2 spots to get Shedeur, if that. You never know. It depends who ends up before us. If it's New England, if it's Cleveland ahead of us, that'll be okay, because now Cleveland is not wanting another quarterback. But obviously, we can't say that for sure 100%. They can always still draft somebody to get behind Watson. New England has their guy, I think. They have their guy, so they're set on the quarterback. I forgot his name offhand, but they're set on the quarterback, so they're not really looking to go ahead and get anybody else. But Jack, really quick, I'm glad the Raiders didn't get Penix. Brock, generational T for sure, 100%. Brock is a generational tight end, and I'm glad he's going to be with us for a very long time. I just hope that he stays healthy, and he doesn't get injured. Luckily, we've lucked out with him. He hasn't. I think he had a little thing at the beginning of the season or preseason. We didn't see too much of him, and that was fine. So long as we saw him in the season, and he's just fucking balled out. He's a fucking animal. So, but I would have liked to have Penix, though. I think Brock would have still been. We might have been still be able to get Brock, but I don't know. He was projected to go even higher, and that's crazy where he fell to 13th, and that's where we got him. So a lot of teams fell asleep on him. So yeah, but yeah, We'll see what happens again, guys. We are going on almost 2 hours, so we'll see what happens with tomorrow's game. Obviously, you know, uh, we have that probability of winning, and that will determine how we approach the draft because with 2 games left, not a lot of room to go up or go down. If we end up winning tomorrow, so again, we'll see what happened. But shout out to the wifey. Go Saints! Thanks, honey. Eh, but really quick, let's see. I'll take a couple more questions and I'll head on out. But Leo says, why wait to get a QB and get Brock's QB back and pick up what we need on both sides of those first couple of picks? That means we have to have another mediocre year. That we would be behind AOC and now make playoffs. That's kind of what we're doing here. And not necessarily would Beck be available. So that's another thing too. Mind you, guys, there's other teams out there that need quarterbacks. So just because like for example, Archie Manning, I think he's going to draft the following year in 26. Try to go out and get him. That's also been talked about. Not necessarily would he be available. And that's the thing. It's just that these teams will come up and snatch these guys right away. And you got to be quick on it. You got to be aggressive. If there's a player that you want that you're seeking, you have to be aggressive and try to get them right away. That's just the name of the game. Salute to Rafa. Thank you, brother, for jumping on. I appreciate you. About to wrap it up in a little bit, but I appreciate you jumping on and supporting the show. Again, if you guys are watching, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. As always, I'm at 56. I'm trying to get it 100, y'all. That is a goal. Eventually try to get 1,000, but make sure you guys support the show. Turn on your notifications. Dropping shorts every week. Doing 2 live shows minimum per week. At least a show every damn Wednesday. The Raider Connection with Cheeto Linus, LB Raider 10, Jeff New England Booster. We are doing the damn thing, breaking down each week's games. And then eventually we'll be talking off season. We'll be talking free agency, the draft, coaches, all that good stuff, rumors. We'll be hitting that up. So make sure you guys tap in and subscribe for sure, 100%. Again, thank you guys so much for jumping on this show. Another edition of JRB Live. Thank you guys again so much for hopping on. And I will see you guys next time. Again, as always, remember, just Raiders, baby. Peace.